Bulldogs. It's Thursday. It's time for story time, and we're getting ready to read a book called Extra Yarn by Mac Barnett. He's one of my favorite kids authors, and so this is a cute story. I don't know if you can see Pippa back there. She is very tired, sleeping. So here we go. So sorry for the crazy hairdo. I've been working at school this week, closing up the library. So sad. But I miss you, Bulldogs. I hope you're enjoying the stories. So let's see. Get this whole thing in here. There we go. On a cold afternoon in a cold little town, where everywhere you looked was either the white of snow or the black soot of chimneys, Annabelle found a box filled with yarn of every color. So she went home and knit herself a sweater, and when Annabelle was done, she had some extra yarn. So she knit a sweater for Mars, too, but there was still extra yarn. When Annabelle and Mars went for a walk, Nate pointed and laughed and said, "You two look ridiculous." "You're just jealous," said Annabelle. "No, I'm not," said Nate. But it turned out he was. And even after she made a sweater for Nate and his dog, and for herself and for Mars, she still had extra yarn. At school, Annabelle's classmates could not stop talking about her sweater. "Quiet," shouted Mr. Norman. "Quiet, everyone. Annabelle, that sweater of yours is terrible destruction. I cannot teach with everyone turning around to look at you." "Then I'll knit one for everyone," Annabelle said, "so they won't have to turn around." "Impossible," said Mr. Norman. "You can't." But it turned out she could, and she did, even for Mr. Norman. And when she was done, Annabelle still had extra yarn. So she knit sweaters for her mom and dad, and for Mr. Pendleton, and for Mrs. Pendleton, and for Dr. Palmer, and for little Lewis. She made sweaters for everyone except for Mr. Crabtree, who never wore sweaters or even long pants, and who could stand in his shorts in the snow up to his knees. "No sweater for me, thanks," said Mr. Crabtree. So she made Mr. Crabtree a hat, and even then Annabelle still had extra yarn. She made sweaters for all the dogs and for all the cats and for the other animals too. Soon people thought soon Annabelle will run out of yarn. But it turned out she didn't. So Annabelle made sweaters for things that didn't even wear sweaters. Things began to change in that little town. News spread of this remarkable girl who never ran out of yarn, and people came to visit from around the world to see all the sweaters and to shake Annabelle's hand. One day, an archduke who was very fond of clothes sailed across the sea and demanded to see Annabelle. "Little girl," said the archduke, "I would like to buy that miraculous box of yarn, and I'm willing to offer you $1 million. "No, thank you," said Annabelle, who was knitting a sweater for a pickup truck. The archduke's mustache twitched. $2 million, he said. Annabelle shook her head. "No, thanks." $10 million, shouted the archduke. "Take it or leave it." "Leave it," said Annabelle. "I won't sell the yarn." And she didn't. So that night, the archduke hired 3 robbers to break into Annabelle's house, and they stole the box and took it to the archduke, who set off across the snow and sailed over the sea back to his castle. The archduke put on his favorite song and sat in his best chair. Then he took out the box and he lifted its lid and he looked inside. His mustache quivered, it shivered, it trembled. The archduke hurled the box out the window and shouted, "Little girl, I curse you with my family's curse. You will never be happy again." But the box landed on a piece of ice. It's in the sea floating across. Look where it ended up. It turned out she was happy again, that is. That is our story for today. One more picture, some more animals wearing the beautiful sweater. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I think we're going to read another one by Mac Barnett tomorrow. But I hope you guys are having a great day. Take care.